says we're live, but it hasn't given me the link yet. There's the link.
Looks cold here, doesn't it, Phil?
It does. I'll pause this.
Oh, I forgot we're live.
I'm gonna go here.
I'm just getting warm now.
You just good. You just keep chatting. All right, we have got
Just talk amongst ourselves.
hello world.
Me, myself, and I.
And then education. Don't really care. Tags, health, and publish. I'm getting faster at this. All right, good. So it's connected into brand YouTube, and we're good.
Brilliant.
I'm Phil.
You're not recording, Phil?
You want me to record? Okay. Well, I got it live on 2 channels, so I'll be recording there. So I'll record if you want.
Yeah, press record.
I'm Phil.
And I'm Phil.
And you're joining us for another fabulous, unheard of episode of the Phil and Phil Show.
Welcome, everybody. Oh, slipping that in there.
Ooh. You look a little cozy there, Phil. You got like 7 layers on it, looks like.
Oh, these are
Oh,
they're just neck things.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday here was so bitterly cold. We had a really strong easterly wind, and my room window faces the east, and I just get that wind straight in. And then last night it got quite mild, and today it's been nice. And it's just, I think I must have got cold, so I just stuck on this extra jumper. It's just my kind of little cozy warm, and put these on my hat just while I warm up, and then I'll be all right again. I'll be good to go.
And you turn the heat off in your room, right? You don't have any heat in your room.
I've got no heat. I've got no heating in my room at all. No, ever.
So why do you do that?
Because I like the fresh air feel. Yeah, just because I just like fresh air. And yeah, I just don't like a stuffy room. I mean, it'd be quite nice while I was sat doing my work, but when I'm sleeping, I don't like it. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I haven't had a heater. I haven't slept with a heater in my room. Well, probably nearly all my life, actually.
That's pretty unique, because most people like set their house temperature a certain temperature and just stick with that. So
yeah, mine's actually underneath my desk. My heater, it's all covered up. You can't even see it. So it definitely doesn't go on.
So you just go with the fluctuations of whatever you like, but it's not a little bit warmer than outside, but like the fluctuations depending on the seasons, and you just kind of tune your body into that.
Well, I'd like to think I did. No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I'm above the kitchen, and there's a heater in the kitchen, so I get a bit of warmth from that.
Right.
And then the landing heater is on my other wall. So I get a little bit of warmth from that. I mean, it will be totally different if I had no heating around me at all. It would be bloody freezing. But it's just, it's just
Right.
cold. But I'm getting warm. I'm starting to get warmed up now, as we're talking. And
but they say it's good to be more. I mean, yes, you've got some warmth, which is smart. We're not ridiculous, and we're not lying outside naked in the winter, at least not for too long.
Yeah.
So it's been smart about it, but there is an adaptation that happens if you're able to be more connected to the natural air temperature, or at least your body. But if it's always the same all the time, there's no adaptation that happens. So I would imagine you're better able to respond to temperature fluctuations than other people, or not. I don't know.
Do you know what I think? Yes, potentially. I think that's I'm definitely more adapted to outside than inside.
Right.
Especially in modern buildings. I don't like modern buildings at all. It's like if sleeping in modern materials, my body can't really regulate very well. It's like this room that I'm in now. It's an extension, and it's built out of modern materials, and it's really well insulated. It is well insulated. The windows probably need replacing. but it doesn't regulate very well. It's like, you know, it's
Mhm.
just it doesn't breathe, which I guess is what old, you know, I grew up in old stone cottages, and they're cold and windy and
Right.
drafty, but they definitely breathe. You know, that there's a
Mhm.
thing to be said for buildings that breathe. And I know
Right.
when I used to live out, I spent 3 or 4 years where I didn't really sleep in a house. And I found it, you know, I used to come back and visit my folks. I couldn't sleep in the house. I used to go and visit my other relations, and I used to sleep in their garden, and they were just like, how do you do it? And I said, well, how do you do it? You know, I couldn't sleep in their house because it was so stuffy and airtight.
Mhm.
And so I just slept outside. especially,
Right.
especially with my relations they had a really nice house, and it's just like, I can't. I slept outside in my bivy bag in the rain
Wow.
because I couldn't settle in the house.
Mhm.
But you know,
So it's
again,
yeah. So there's something that I think there's an instinctual thing there, you know, of like you wanting to like be more connected to nature. And we look back, so we got these modern houses that are just so insulated, perfect temperatures, materials that don't breathe, and we kind of look back to like how, or we look into places where they're building more natural homes here you know, in Arizona they build these, you know, the straw bale homes or the rammed earth. I mean, rammed earth homes are happening everywhere, which is using natural building materials that like you say, they breathe. And more than that, they also have a resonance of the earth. Like they haven't been totally distorted or turned synthetic into synthetic fiberglass or drywall. It's like they're trying to use natural clays and muds and earths. And there's a different energetic when you sit inside one of those buildings, for sure.
yeah, I mean, absolutely, Phil. I know at the Tree of Life, the cafe there was a straw bale build, wasn't it?
Hmm.
And that was a really beautiful building. It's just they're not suffocating. You know, you can
Right.
breathe. Your
Yeah.
body can. It's like in the winter now for me. If I get too many clothes on, um,
Hmm.
I feel, even though it's really cold and I need it, my body gets to a point where my body's just like, Phil, I can't breathe.
Right.
I can't move. I'm done now.
Yeah.
And I know by the time I get to the end of February, my body's done with all the clothes. It's just like, you know, I'm
Hmm.
fed up now.
Yeah.
It gets a bit too long of having clothes on. But you know, I do my best to wear natural fabrics most of the time.
Hmm. Well, what I
Mm.
like about these natural buildings also is they're not always straight. So like they don't have sharp corners and sharp edges, which is bad energetic, you know, and it
Absolutely,
cuts
yeah,
into the energy of the room. So
yeah,
kind of more of a natural flow and a natural energy, like the curves and the like nature's not got these straight edges. And then we build these houses or these cities that have straight edges. I mean, we know that in cities, like there's a lot of positive ions created in these like high rise areas, and the energy feels awful there. Whereas opposed to like being out walking in the woods or being in a natural dwelling or a sweat lodge, an EP, like you feel connected to the elements, you know. So
yeah. You know, absolutely. I know it's the same when I go visiting people. If I go into an old cottage, there's such it's always there's like a real sweet energy, and you go,
mhm.
and then to be fair, the newer the houses, the worse it all gets because they're all
Right.
full of toxic plastic, MDF,
Hmm.
nasty building materials,
Yeah.
and all the nasty paints and varnishes, and you know, it just doesn't lead for harmony.
Yeah.
Sharp, lots of sharp edges.
Yeah. And you can do it well in a modern house. I mean, my parents obviously have been to their house, and I think you remember it feels great. I mean, they got
Yeah,
tile
yeah, yeah.
floors, they got, you know, low or zero VOC paints. It's very airy, lots of light coming in. It's not totally sealed. You can open the windows, you know, so that you can create a modern home that feels more in alignment with the elements. So,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Now, I mean, now there's some fantastic products around.
mhm,
It's like I know when I went and stayed in a log cabin up in North Yorkshire,
mhm,
just amazing. You know,
mhm,
it was warm, but yet, you know, at night I didn't have a problem. I didn't have a problem regulating my body heat at night. It was just incredible.
mhm,
It's the same actually when I sleep in my van, even though
mhm.
that's not very natural. It's you know, the back of the van certainly isn't sealed.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how much air and nature there is, even sleeping in a tin box.
Right. Well, like you say that key thing there is the air circulation is really important in your sleeping space, like fresh air constantly coming in. Yeah, so your body can heal and rejuvenate. So
Yeah, and also that snake, I think it's called a snake's tongue, that plant you've got behind you.
mhm.
And that apparently creates good air, good oxygen when you're sleeping.
Yeah, there was like there's quite a lot of books out there. I think there's like 15 house plants that are really good for purifying the air in the home. So
Yeah, that's I think in England the slang name of that is mother-in-law's tongue.
yep, we love that one.
And I've got spider plants, and that their spider plants are really good. Aloe vera are really good as well.
Hmm. So just putting these healing plants around us is important.
Yeah. So then they produce negative ions, don't they, as well? Yeah, fab.
So cool. Yeah. So I don't know. That's one topic. That's fun. Um,
Oh, okay. So we're on a sleeping topic.
uh-huh.
So the importance of organic cotton bed sheets, for example.
Hmm.
So I don't know if you know, Phil, 52% of all pesticides are dumped on cotton.
Wow.
52% worldwide.
Hmm.
And, we're all buying cotton because we think cotton's a really great fabric.
Hmm.
And actually, you imagine when you cover your body in toxic covered cotton.
Well, wouldn't you just wash those out after a few washes or not? Do you think they'd be stuck in the fabric or what? Or
Well,
the energy, the vibration of it too, I suppose.
But the actual toxins is actually right in the fiber,
Okay.
right through the whole fiber of the plant. I don't know the answer to that. I mean, if you're not buying organic, then obviously buying from charity shops, secondhand clothes is the best way to go, because then without a doubt a lot of the toxins have gone.
Well, it's better, but then there is like, I can concur that there definitely is some embedding of those toxins. So I don't know. I had to buy a jacket or something, or pants. I think it was pants, and it was used, right? But they really had a
He means
strong
trousers, guys, in England.
pants,
He
trousers.
doesn't mean used pants. He means
Well,
used
I buy
trousers.
used underwear all the time. What's wrong with that? No, I don't really. I buy organic underwear.
Yeah, me too. Always.
Gotta have the best there. So, so trousers, those long-legged things. Sorry, being Americanized.
That's fine, as long as we do it in both languages, because the Americans like to think they're English, but they're not. They're American.
I've been Americanized, all
Yeah.
messed up. So I bought these like dress pants, and they had like a strong odor. I washed them like I think it was just water a bunch of times, and with natural soap, like 5 or 6 times, that smell would not come out. It was like so intense, like dry cleaning smell or something, or fabric detergent softener. And like, so these things that people use in their clothes, that like fabric softeners for whatever, I'd make your non-static things, and conditioners and soaps, like they go into that fabric, and then you're going to absorb them in your skin. So if you're washing your sheets in that to smell nice, and I don't know if you've ever slept in a bed that has like those, oh god, and I've done that, and I've had the worst night's sleep ever, being a clean person. It's just I couldn't handle it. I got a headache.
Yeah.
I felt like crap. I couldn't sleep. So if you are using that, like, try washing in natural fabrics, clean that out, and see how it feels. Like it will make a big difference, because that absorbs straight into the skin.
Oh, it makes such a big difference. I used to take my sleeping bag. If I went to visit people, I used to take my sleeping bag with me. Take because then I never used a pillow. So I take my sleeping bag, and I've got one of them hoods on my sleeping bag, and I can tie myself up in it, so I don't have to sleep in. Because to me now, it's about 20 to 25 years since I've used natural products.
Mm-hmm.
So for me now, just the smell of normal laundry detergents is just terrible on me. I get a headache, I feel ill. It's a bit of a pain sometimes, because of course it limits what you can do and where you can go, because I just can't handle that smell. But yeah, organic bedding, organic pillows, organic pillowcases, or hemp. You know, hemp. They use very little pesticides with hemp. Hemp's a great product. Bamboo. I'm not convinced 100% by bamboo, because some companies and some people say that they use quite a lot of chemicals to break it down from the actual bamboo into bamboo fiber.
Right, because they're turning it almost into nylon, so the like it's almost like a synthetic material when it gets to the bamboo stage. So something, yeah, I agree, something's a little bit off on the bamboo thing.
So it's I mean, I've got some bamboo stuff that I love, and I use a certain company in the UK. I'll give David Gordon from bamclothing.co.uk a shout out there. Really like what he's doing, really like his clothing, great quality, and so comfortable. And now, well, I say now, for the last, I don't know how many years now, probably 5 years, he started using organic cotton as well. So he started off with the bamboo fiber and cotton, and then he turned to organic cotton. So that, you know, that's great. He's got a fairly, as far as I'm aware, he's got a fairly clean bamboo process going on, and organic cotton.
Excellent.
Which, you know, that's great. So yeah, natural fiber duvets is really good. Organic cotton, Phil.
Yeah, we've even taken bedding to hotels. When we've gone to hotels, we take our own bedding, we strip off the bedding and put our own on. But talking about the bed too, it seems we're talking about sleep in the bed. Like, I have a latex mattress, and I think it's a natural latex mattress, and I sleep really good on that, and I don't like any other beds. So,
you know, also though, Phil, don't you find that with the lifestyle that you've got now, it can cause you a bit of a problem?
Yeah,
because
it's a little inconvenient.
You can't really go anywhere, eat anything, do anything. Because when you've chosen to create your environment into a really great, clean, you know, high quality food, high quality bedding, high quality clothes to the best of your ability, yeah, just it's a challenge, isn't it?
It makes it a little challenging. I think that's always been like, as you get into raw food and natural living, it's like it can be harder to be out in the regular kind of world. So, and I think we've always called, like, being in this, we've always been wanting a new world or a new change, a new vision where these things are just accepted and easy.
I remember I was when Karen Noley used to do the raw food shows. Your mum and dad were there. It was the first year I come back from the Tree of Life, actually, in 2005. And we were all having the dinner at the end of the show, or on the Saturday night, I can't remember now. And I was sat with Doug Graham and his wife, and I don't know if Gabriel was with us or not. You know, we were all sat in the table around talking, and it's just like, you know, let's pray for this to be normal. Let's pray for this natural living, raw food world just to be normal. So it's you know, it's accepted, and you can do it without being a freak just because you want organic bed sheets. Yeah, because you know, on a level, when you choose to really nurture yourself, I've lost my thread of thought then because something else came in.
Well, it's just you just have it. Once you make that commitment, you've made that commitment, and it is a big commitment. So you are gonna, you know, probably alienate some people and lose some people. But you know, we know that red pill, as it were, is opened up so many more avenues and doors. Like, you would never have gone to the Tree of Life. You never come to America and done that, probably.
No, I wouldn't. Absolutely. I mean, there's big steps in my life that I can see have changed forever, and going, you know, starting my raw food journey changed it massively. You're right. I wouldn't have known about the Tree of Life. I wouldn't have gone to the Tree of Life. I wouldn't have met you. I wouldn't have been to America. You know, I wouldn't know all the other people in the raw food world that I know. You know, Chad Sarno, Doug Graham, Gabriel Cousins, and I can, you know, my list can go on of the people that I've met, hung out with, spent time with, becomes friends with because of that decision. Yeah.
Yeah, and so and realizing that what we're letting go of is like, okay, some people go, well, I won't be able to eat at my favorite restaurant. It's like, well, good, like you're not going to miss it at some point. So there's things that we're going to let go of. It's just like when you open up these other doors, you can be like, I don't even care anymore about those things. So
Yeah, that's an interesting one, Phil, because one of the questions I get a lot is, don't you miss? You can
nope.
fill in, anyone can fill in the blank.
Right.
And I had one friend that I was doing some training with a few years ago, and he said, Phil, don't you, I can't remember what it was, don't you miss coffee or tea or milk or whatever? And I'm like, no, it's not in my conscious, it's just not there anymore.
Right.
Like, oh, I couldn't do that because I would miss alcohol or whatever it was he was talking about. And then I was talking with him the other weekend, and he's like, do you know what, Phil, I gave up meat, was it this year, last year? I think since lockdown. And he said, do you know what, I don't miss it at all. I said, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
He said, no, I don't miss it at all. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
And I said, so do you remember the conversations that we used to have when you used to say to me, don't you miss whatever? And I used to say no. And you'd be like, but how can you not miss it? And I can't explain that to somebody that doesn't have that consciousness.
Right.
Because it's just, it's like, I used to have a favorite restaurant when I ate normally. I'd never walk in the door of that restaurant now. There's nothing appealing about it to me.
Right.
Whereas if I went to America, if I went to San Francisco, I would know where to go. If I went to London, I know I don't eat out here.
Right.
So I think eating out for me is kind of like it was for our parents, Phil, when we were kids. It's a real luxury, whereas now people go out all the time.
Right.
So if I go to London to a show or to see somebody, an event or whatever it is I'm going to London for, then I go out, not always, sometimes I go out to dinner. And then it makes it really special because I'm doing it, I was going to say once a year, that's pushing it at the moment. I haven't been to London for a while now. But do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So you don't miss your favorite food. What was your, I don't know that I miss, I think you go, I have phases where I was having dates and all my smoothies, and then for whatever reason I couldn't get them from my supplier, and I was like, oh, I'm going to really miss them. Well, after like 3 days of not having them, it's like, oh, it's amazing. It's just, they're just not in my life anymore, and that's fine.
Right.
And of course, as soon as I get the opportunity again, they're there.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
But I don't go, oh, I wish I could have them.
Right.
I was thinking just the other day, I wonder what it would be like to have them again now, because it's been like 2 or 3 weeks without them, and the reality is I haven't missed them at all. So it's great. I get tested onto, and that's that's also how for instance my lifestyle can get even purer, is I can't get something that I think's really good and I can't get it, and then it's like, oh, and then it comes back in again, and I haven't done it for however many weeks or months, and think, well, actually, I don't need that anymore, because that wasn't, it's, I don't need it. And that's really great to learn that.
Yeah, we think we have to have something. And it's not that it's bad or good. It's just like we become dependent on the same thing every single day. And we go outside our comfort zones a little bit. Like we talked about last week, there's some uncertainty in that. So your friend was like, oh, that's scary, because that means, I don't know what would happen. I'm like, there's some uncertainty in that. I'm comfortable in what I'm doing. So they're not really saying, how do you do that? Don't you miss it? They're like, oh, I'm scared to actually let this go, because I don't know what's going to happen. But when you actually let it go, you're like, oh, okay. It's like,
yeah, that's true, actually, Phil. I think you're right. It's that change thing, isn't it? It's like, how will I cope? How will I manage without that? Because that's always been, I think as well, people see it as part of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you've been down a road as far as we've gone, I drink smoothies every day and drink juice nearly every day. I drink lemon water every day. It's not part of who I am.
Right.
Part of my routine and part of my ritual. But hey, do you know what? If I didn't do it again tomorrow, I wouldn't do it.
Right. Yeah, there's like times like the smoothie thing. Like sometimes I don't have ripe bananas, and I'm like, all right, well, there's no smoothie today, and it's like, okay, that's fine. Just drink some water and do something else. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely.
cool.
It's just a completely. It's even hard to wrap your head around it, even as long as I've been doing it. I can't
Mhm.
wrap my head around it because I can't make sense of it. It's just a complete reality shift, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to immerse in it. I suppose it's like learning a new language or something. It's like you can't comprehend it till you like dive in. That's what they say. You have to go to the country or something. It's like this. You kind of got to dive into totally embracing raw foods and doing it. And we both did that. And I've seen other people do that. And once they immerse, and that's what we saw when people went to the Tree of Life for a month, they would totally immerse in it and like, oh, wow, I can do this. This is pretty normal. And everyone else is doing it around me. Like, that's a nice way to do it when there's people around you. It's easier. But
Yeah, that's what we need. That's what we need around the world. Really, the Tree of Life isn't even there anymore.
right.
There's hardly anywhere now that you can do that. There's hardly anywhere. Well, I don't know anywhere at the moment that you. Well, I don't mean in lockdown, but I mean without lockdown, where you can go and do what we did. I don't know where you can go now and spend 13 weeks like I did and be submerged. That I of course I worked because I was training, and part of the training was to actually run the cafe in the kitchen.
Right.
But what a great opportunity to.
Well,
And
you let go of the day-to-day things that you've associated with a certain food or a certain habit, and they're no longer there. So you have to change. So it can be harder when you've got a family all around you that's eating, regular diet, and you're trying to eat raw food, and that can be stressful, can be challenging. So it's
yeah,
nice if you can get out,
I think as well, that's why so many people kind of fail on all of these health endeavors is the support network. I
Right.
mean, now the internet's great, but it's not the same. You can be up on the internet, you can be in all these chat groups, and you go downstairs and someone's eating your favorite dinner or your favorite tea or your favorite snack or breakfast. And it's hard. It's the same for me when I go to my friend's house, because I don't really eat salad anymore and I don't eat avocados because of the avocado wars. You can look into that. The avocado wars, they're amazing.
Where are avocados not coming from Spain over there? No,
No, most of ours tend to come from South America.
which is kind of crazy. Don't they grow well in Spain?
I don't know, Phil, to be honest.
I thought they did, or maybe that's just citrus.
Citrus grows very well, and in certain parts of Spain, mangoes as well.
Yeah.
But when they're in season, they're really expensive, Spanish mangoes. But they're
Yeah.
good.
So yeah, I have a good supply of avocados, I think, from Mexico so I don't know if they're as extreme as the ones you're getting, but it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the avocado
I
wars.
couldn't give up avocados to stop it.
Do you know what? I didn't think I could after about 15 years of eating avocados. But then as I was saying, so now I go to my friends' houses and they make these lovely salads or whatever they're doing, and it's just like, oh, so I cave in. It's quite funny, really. I cave in and have a salad.
Well, I would enjoy it, so
I totally enjoy it.
good.
But that's not my daily routine anymore.
Right.
And and it's hard for me when I go to someone's house and they've got this, someone's made this amazing salad, or there's all this amazing salad around me. I eat it, but it's no different to someone else having, other or normal food around them. It's that same temptation.
Well, I think it's a little bit different, but yeah, I know what you're saying. I mean, there's not quite as extreme as a gap. It's not like they're eating McDonald's and you take a bite, So
no, but it's the same thing, though.
I get the analogy. That makes sense.
It's the same. It's that when you're trying to do something different to other people.
Yeah, you feel uncomfortable and you're like, and I've done that. I've been to like potlucks here, and I'm just like, sometimes like I'll go to a potluck and I eat my own food, whatever I brought, and I don't even touch anyone else's, because it's like, that's the energy. I'm just like, oh, I don't want to eat all these 10 different combinations, So I maximum I'll do 2 or 3 things. That's it, So
that's really good, Phil.
Yeah, but I've learned the hard way with potlucks of like bellyache, and I tune into the vibration of the food before I take it. It's like, I don't like whatever somebody was thinking when they created this meal, so I'm not touching it. And that's important too. So,
and that, you know, that goes round to when we were talking to Samado. He was talking a lot
Mhm.
about that, wasn't he?
Right.
Talking about how people would walk into one of those 5-star Michelin chef restaurants and be sick,
Hmm.
and yet the food was some of the best that they could possibly get.
Right.
But the energetics that went into the food weren't the best that they could get.
Yeah. So, you know, if you're going to be in those situations, seeing as we're talking about that, is like where you might have to go to a family gathering, is, you know, obviously thinking about taking your own food or eating before you leave. So having, you know,
I've done
whatever
that.
you, so make sure you're full. So then you get there, you might just nibble on a few carrot sticks or something, you know. So
I've done that
uh,
before. I've gone out for a meal with my family, well, years
yeah.
ago, and I'd eat first before I went out to the restaurant, and then sit and drink water.
Right.
Oh, aren't you really well behaved? It's like, I've had
Yeah,
my
I stuffed my face before I left. But that's important. Those are strategies that are important to try and figure out is, or say you're in an environment where there's all these temptations, is make sure you have your own cupboard or something that's dedicated to all your favorite superfoods or whatever it is that, you know, connects you. Have your big bowl of fruit or your salad, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Like whatever connects you, have your kind of thing there to turn to when everyone else is eating chips. Maybe you have some flax crackers and hummus or something. So find things that you can, like, say it's the crunch factor while sitting watching football, soccer on TV, and it's with your family. Find something that you can replace that same experience with. It's like maybe you're, you know, chewing on carrot sticks and hummus or something, you know, that
Oh,
that
Phil,
might be.
I'm just gonna add in there. Oh, I'm not gonna add in there. Sorry, I forgot to turn that alarm off.
So just really just trying to find ways, giving yourself resources, having an abundance of
Back.
healthy choices, and he's back. There you go. And carry on, Phil.
Yeah, so what I was gonna say, with chips, watching your favorite movie, you can make some really great corn chips. So I used
Right.
in America flax, in England linseed. So about 50-50 with frozen sweet corn,
Mm,
and put it in a blender, blend it all up,
right.
and then pour it on your Teflex sheets before you, and then spread it all out really nice, really thinly, like, you know, so you've got like a tortilla,
Chip.
tortilla, tortilla. What are they called? The little chips, corn chips, tortillas,
Yeah, tortilla.
tortilla. So
Right.
make them so you've got tortilla thickness, and then
Mm-hmm.
spread them out on the sheet. And then what I did when it dried was I turned it over, and then when you turn it over and peel the sheet off the back, you can see the diamonds through on the tray at the bottom, and then you
Mm-hmm.
can get a spatula and cut down those diamonds.
Oh,
And then
fun.
when you snap them up, they actually go into triangles the same size as tortillas.
Ah.
And then
So
you've got,
that's 50-50 flax, linseed, and corn just
yeah,
blended up. So you
yeah. And
blend up the corn, mix in the flax, chia. I mean, not chia.
I blend I soak the flax,
Mm-hmm.
linseed, same thing, England,
Right.
America. I grind that into a
Mm-hmm.
powder,
Right.
and then put in plenty of water. Put in the I use frozen organic sweet corn.
Mm-hmm.
Blend that in, and then a pinch of salt. Depending on, depending on what flavor, you can put in smoked paprika. You
Mm-hmm.
can put in a pinch of salt. You can put in a curry powder, or you can just leave them plain. Plain, they're really good. And then you
Mm-hmm.
can make a hummus. You can make an avocado dip. You can make a pepper dip. Courgettes make great dips, actually, because with a courgette, if you peel the courgette, then there's not too much flavor in the courgette, and then you can make a great like courgette hummus, or any kind of a courgette flavored dip. You can do curry and courgette. You can do all sorts of things, play around, and then you can dip your chips in, and you've got a cracking cracker.
Cracking cracker. So it's just all about being prepared right there. And so it's finding tools and resources and just getting empowered and getting ready. So I mean, another example that Susan's done where like she's maybe going to a party where everyone's, maybe drinking alcohol. So, to be kind of connected, so she'll take kombucha, and even sometimes a hard kombucha, which is I'm not big into that personally, but like an alcohol kombucha. I don't know if you've seen those. I don't know if they have them in England, but they have those in America. But just a kombucha, so you have like a bubbly drink while everyone else is drinking their bubbly drink. So you don't feel like they don't think you're doing something weird, and you kind of connect with them. So
yeah, making if you use coconut water, either out of young green coconuts or a carton, because carton coconut water actually is quite good. And then you can use a probiotic, and you can pour your coconut water into your blender, put a teaspoon of probiotic in it, blend it up, put the lid on, leave it in the fridge for about 4 days, and you've got a really amazing bubbly like coconut champagne.
So you don't even leave it out, you just put it in the fridge?
No, I just put it in the fridge. You get a much dense kind of, you get a much slower dense brew than you do outside, and it keeps longer. It lasts longer in the fridge. And then you just get this really deep, sparkly coconut water. It's incredible.
And it's interesting how we've taken those drinks to parties and we'll share them, and then people are like, oh, this is really good. This is better than the alcohol we're drinking. So we actually that's where you can really influence people on those things, like things that maybe we wouldn't do every day. At a party, kind of influence somebody to start make a change, to bring something different, or bring a fabulous raw dessert or something, or some little chocolate treats or something to a party. And it's like, so you start to do a little bit of sharing. You can't just go out there and go, people, they need to take care of me. It's like, you need to take care of yourself. And then in that, you can maybe obviously share a little bit about that, so you're receiving for self, and then you can share some of that with others. So I love sharing food with people. It's one of my favorite things.
And that, Phil, takes us back to taking responsibility, doesn't it? What you're just talking about is don't rely on other people when you go visit to look after them. What I've done in the past is I've taken my kit to people's houses. People say, oh, do you want to come and stay for the weekend? It's like, yeah, shall I make you dinner? And they're like, yeah, because it's really weird for people. If you go, they make you dinner, right? But when I go, I make them dinner. So I turn up with my blender and my food processor, and depending on where it is, I might take my dehydrator, depending on how long we're there for, and take all my kit, take over their kitchen, make them this, an amazing meal. So sometimes, me and my partner go and do it. And sometimes it will take us like most of the day, but my friends will sit at the table in their kitchens or stand in their kitchens, talk to us while we're prepping, and we'll talk to them about what we're doing. And then they've got food and they're just like, wow. I had no idea that you could do this stuff. We might make them a little pizza, or make them little falafels, or make them whatever you call those, wraps. Make pumpkin and courgette wraps. Pumpkin seed, flax seed, and courgette wraps. Just and create a meal that's of lots of different things, and little sticks and little pizzas, and
and the colors too. It's just amazing. Like the freshness and the colors are always a wow thing for people. Like, wow, that looks amazing.
Looks amazing, tastes amazing, and people have never seen anything like it. You just need to go a bit gourmet for people sometimes. So they can get
inspired.
Wowed by the color.
I mean, I've taken a Vitamix from here to Michigan on the plane. So yeah, put it under the plane in the suitcase, and I was like, I'm taking my Vitamix with me. Actually, what we did is like, we bought her daughter a Vitamix. So there's always a Vitamix there now. We just like found a cheap, a used one, and it's in good condition. So there's always a Vitamix there if we need it, so that's
brilliant.
Yeah.
Actually, for traveling, Phil, I've got one of those. Have you seen the TriBest personal blenders?
I think so. Yeah.
They're half the size probably of a what are they called? NutriBullet.
Oh, they're half the size of that. Okay.
Yeah. They're probably half the size of a NutriBullet, half the weight.
I have made celery juice in a hotel room with a NutriBullet. So I'm there. I've got my NutriBullet. I got a pitcher. Got a nut milk bag. I'm cramming the celery juice in there, and I blend it with a tiny little bit of water. pour it into this, squeeze it out, and do that a couple of times. So I've made celery juice while with a NutriBullet in a hotel without a kitchen. I'm just like there, squeezed on a little table on the corner. So
when I went when we were traveling in Thailand, I took my little blender and I was making us. I cultured everything. I just took a little blender. It holds about it probably only holds about 8 or 10 ounces.
So I mean, why do we do this? Like what? Like,
But you can tell though, it's interesting because we both really love it.
Yeah, it's like we obviously like this and we really care. It's not, it doesn't even feel like an obsession. It's just like we want good quality food and we want it, we want to do it our way. It's like, I mean, I've like made little wraps on the side of the road on road trips. You go to the health food store and all the, buy some sprouts and some nori sheets and some hummus or something, and you make a little roll and you're there with like stuff in your face, like, or a collard leaf or something like that, so.
Well, I remember when you took me to Tucson and we went to Whole Foods.
And we did that probably, right?
We did that sat in your Jeep. and we had nothing with us and we had to like get our thumbnail and cut around the avocado.
Oh, that's the best. I always do that now. It's just like I even do it at home.
Dip in the avocado and then you had to squidge the skin together and chew the flesh out.
I still do that in the house. So
Brilliant.
I'm just like, there's a knife there. I'm like, no, I'm gonna break it apart, and then I'm like, squeeze it in the thing, and then suck the avocado out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've literally, with that little blender of mine, I've been Australia, New Zealand, America, France,
Nice.
Luxembourg, Holland, Spain. Where else have I been with it? Thailand. Took it to anywhere with I can't take it to America because America's 110 volts and we're 240 volts. So I can't take. It's quite good, really. I can't take my kit to America. So when I go,
that'll be a problem.
That's a problem. But yeah, go and I remember when I was in Thailand and the guys on the site that we were staying on, I got them to cut me a coconut, and they didn't really know what I was talking about, so I got them to cut it, and then I went like take the top off of it, and then I had a water bottle, a normal bottle of water that I'd emptied and cut the top off, and I emptied the coconut into this plastic bottle, and he kind of looked at me a little bit, and then I was like. And he looked at me and I said, yeah. So he cut it in half for me. And then I went behind the bar and picked up the blender jug and took it out onto the floor and sat there with a spoon and carved the coconut flesh out of the half of the coconut, put it in the blender. And he's now looking at me like I've completely lost the plot. And then I got the water, poured the water into the blender, leant over the bar, put the lid on, stuck it back on, flicked the switch in the blender, blended it all myself. Took it out, poured it back into the bottle that had no top on it, ran back up to our little hut. We had a hut by the beach, ran back up to the hut, stuck it in the hut, and then came back down again. And he's like, where is it? And of course, it's really difficult. He's Thai and I'm English, so I couldn't explain. But the next day, I took it back down to the hut and let him try some.
That's cool.
So
a little bit hot here. I'm just gonna.
So we had hot. Yeah. Send us a bit. So we had freshly cultured young green coconut with probiotics, and that's the food of the gods, in my opinion.
Right. Totally.
You getting hot there, Phil?
Yeah.
So what's it? It's obviously not that warm because you've got a sweatshirt on.
Well, I probably should take that off. Actually, I'm gonna take it off.
Da, 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 da. Look at London, Rio. There's not much real about that at the minute. No, but everybody else can.
What's that?
I just laugh amongst myself. That's all right.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, so I mean that's been quite I think that's just been quite an interesting topic talking about that. Yeah, we ought to maybe think of a theme of a show one night. But it's just interesting once you start talking and what comes out, and then you know, what's the value? And, you know, I hope actually some of this conversation we've had so far has been of value to people and useful.
Yeah.
But you've got, it's all about when you're starting out, it's all about prep. It's all about being prepared. For all, you know, for all things. I'm going to go away to work in the next couple of, well, probably not this week, next week. I'm going off to work again. And oh yeah, I should try and I'll make sure that I'm back for a Sunday night, so I'm not away, because that's a challenge. Not only have I got to do all my food, then I've then got to find somewhere to sit and do a show as well.
Right.
You know, so for me, I'll take a mix of superfoods, things that I can think of that I'll just roughly measure them out that I would do daily and stick that into a pot and give it a good shake up. And then, so that's easy for when I get there. Make sure I've got bananas and things to take with me. And yeah, I mean, on the way, there's some good shops as well that I can stop in and buy the products as well, which is really good.
That's cool.
And kind of feels like a bit of a wrap, Phil, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. It's been a good show.
I think we've done well.
We just got going and got talking.
Yeah, done well. Yeah, and it feels now like we've reached a natural break stopping point.
That's about an hour. It's a good show. Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, I really appreciate you watching. Really appreciate you tuning in. It's been great. Thanks very much. Before we go, if anyone's got any questions or suggestions, drop it in the chat. That would be great.
I'll look here on YouTube if there's anything. The live chat feature is not working. No, not working. But
Wendy says thank you. Thank you for watching.
Thanks, Wendy. All right. Well, I'm Phil.
And I'm Phil.
And this has been another fabulous episode of the Phil and Phil Show.
So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. If you love what we're doing, if you enjoy what we're doing, remember on YouTube or wherever, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, follow us. Really appreciate all your input and your following. If you like what we're doing and you'd like to support us, there's a donation button on our site, philandphil.com. Is it Phil? It's just philandphil.com, isn't it?
Correct.
philandphil.com, and there's a donation button on there. If you'd like to donate to us, we'd really appreciate that, because it will help us to continue doing what we're doing.
And you can join our newsletter up there too. So
drop us your email in there, and then we can get on the newsletter.
Great. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.